Cloud. We are recording. I'm chatting. Almost afternoon. All righty. Good morning, afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's New York City Department of Education Beyond Access Forum. This event is brought to you by the DOE Division of Specialized Instruction and Student Support and the Office of Digital Inclusion and the New York City School Library System. A special thank you to all of our partners. Be sure to visit their booths throughout the day. I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to log into the Conference Hub using the link set in your confirmation profile. Once you're logged in, you can visit a partner booth to learn about their offerings and book a meeting or chat live with them. Network with all of today's attendees via the registrant directory and chat features, and gain access to all the conference resources in the resources section, and enter our Passport to Prizes. Throughout the Conference Hub, you will find several buttons to enter yourself into our Passport to Prizes. Each time you find a button and fill in the form, you will earn one entry into the raffle. All entries are eligible for a series of prize drawings, only one prize per participant. We will announce the winners via email at the end of the conference. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions for the presenters during the sessions, please submit them through the Zoom chat feature. You will have the option to turn on closed captioning by clicking Show Subtitle within your Zoom console. And throughout the event, please use the conference hashtag NYC Schools Inclusion for your social media posts. And for your CTLE credit, please visit the credit. It's on the homepage. I won't even go through the URL right now because I don't get it. But I'd love to welcome our presenters now, Karen and Ashlyn.
Hi, everyone. All right, everyone. As Allison said, my name is Karen Rodgers, and I'm here with my team member, Ashlyn Hudson. We're part of the learning team with Tobii Dynavox today, and we are so excited to talk to you about how we can utilize the communication software of SnapCore First with Boardmaker to support our communicators and our learners. So first off, Ashlyn and I want to find out a little bit about you. So if you would go ahead, and we're going to use that chat feature of Zoom. And if you'd go ahead and just type in there, let us know what role you play in attending this session. Are you a teacher? Are you a therapist? Are you on an assistive tech team? Are you an administrator? Are you an assistant? Just what is your role? What is your current role that you play? And it's just kind of exciting for us to get to see those individuals that can attend. So it looks like we've got a library media specialist, we've got some OTs and ATP, awesome, speech therapist, great, SPED teacher, school psychologist, awesome. Well, Ashlyn, it looks like we are kind of preaching to the choir a little bit today, which always makes it a little bit exciting, but also we have a wide variety of learners today, which is going to make it really fun as we have some really exciting things to get to show you.
Yes, so excited to have all of y'all here.
Awesome. All right, and so I'm not sure if all of you do know this, many of you might, but Boardmaker and Tobii Dynavox are the same company. And so what we would like to do is, we know that a few of you are more familiar with Boardmaker and a few of you are more familiar with SnapCore First. But what we would like for you to do is show us which of these two you are more familiar with or that you're currently using. So if you just, again, go ahead and type in that chat window. Are you more familiar with Boardmaker or are you more familiar with SnapCore First? So I see a Boardmaker right away. SnapCore First. And if they're equal, then that's fine too. You can type both of those in there as well. Awesome. So Boardmaker, for those of you who do know, is a tool for creating symbol-supported communication and education materials. Boardmaker includes templates to allow you to create your own content, as well as a wide array of pre-made activities and research-based curricula, both print-based and interactive for those communicators. And then SnapCore First is a communication software that can be used by symbol-based or text-based communicators that need that support with some speech output. So SnapCore First is accessible through touch, eye gaze, and scanning, and can grow with your communicator. Again, these two tools both are part of the Tobii Dynavox family and can be utilized together. So by the end of today, you'll definitely know and recognize how you can utilize these together.
Fantastic. And before we dive into those two different softwares and talk about all of the cool ways that you can utilize them, we want to just pause for a minute and think about some of our biggest challenges and frustrations in finding and delivering instruction and providing therapy and access to your students. So if you want to use chat to share just some of those things that are just your biggest hurdles. I know for me, I'm a former special education teacher as well as an occupational therapist, and a huge challenge that I had is finding time to create activities that all of my students could engage in. So meeting all those varied needs of different cognitive abilities, physical differences, sensory challenges. I really loved making activities in between meetings and meltdowns and fire drills. I didn't always have time to make all of the stuff that I wanted to make. And I wasn't always a huge fan of the weekends laminating and copying things. So take some time, maybe put a couple of your frustrations in the chat. I know some of the things that we hear frequently from people are, there are just too many platforms. There are too many different things that we're trying to use, different programs. It can be really hard to manage all of those different systems. And we also have to come up with ways for our learners to have access to their materials. We want our students to be able to fully engage with their education, and that can really become challenging with varied needs. We also recognize that special educators are tasked with teaching not only the required grade level standards, we also have to help shore up functional skills and those deficits with their IEP goals. So just a whole lot of content that you have to cover. And then on top of that, always my least favorite part of the job, that data collection piece, but it's maybe not my favorite thing to do, but I recognize how necessary it is and how important that data collection is, because that's what helps us determine growth and progress and really lets us know where we need to go next with our learners. So time consuming, but necessary. And then, like I was saying earlier, our learners don't come to us on the same level. So we can't give them all the same materials and expect success. We have to differentiate and create specially designed instruction for all of those needs. And now we get to add virtual learning to the mix. So lots of challenges for us working with learners in special education and in therapy. But we at Tobii Dynavox feel like we have a couple of solutions that we think can help ease some of those frustrations and maybe make your lives a little bit easier, not to mention benefit your students. And that's what we really want to talk about today with Boardmaker and SnapCore First. And we're going to start today with Boardmaker. And I am going to present a case study of a little girl named Crystal. She's a second grader, loves school, and she loves her sisters, and she loves unicorns. And she has intellectual disability, and she needs differentiated academic activities. She's using a communication device to communicate with touch access. And right now she's currently working virtually from home. So we're using the Boardmaker Student Center to connect her for direct instruction for independent work during the school day. We have our virtual sessions using Zoom, where I share my screen and give her remote access so she can interact with what she sees. And I'm using the Boardmaker Student Center with her because it allows me to provide interactive engagement while also collecting performance data. So what we're going to do now is watch a video of Crystal working through some different activities through that student center and that shared screen. All right, so Crystal is at home and she has her computer on, and I am sharing my screen with her, and I've given her remote access to my screen. So Crystal has control, or I have control. So we're gonna go back and forth. That way she can access all of the things that I have on the screen, and I can also go in and do some modeling. The first thing I'm going to do is go over our schedule for what we're going to do today and just kind of walk through and show her all of the different pieces that we're going to have during our lesson. And then I will move us into her student center. So Crystal, we're going to start with our math lesson today. And Crystal and I have been working on her addition problems with fives. I noticed from some previous activities that I had assigned to her that she was missing some of these problems. So I created this activity so we could have some extra practice with her fives. So Crystal, if you want to go ahead and work on those math facts.
Ten. 5 plus 3. Sorry, that's not a match.
Try again. Let's see if we can find what equals 10.
10. 5 plus 5.
Good job.
That's right.
So one of the nice things about these templates is they have this automatic supported mode built in that's going to give the learner that cue if they get something wrong or if they get something right. So even if Crystal is practicing this activity when I'm not there with her or working with her in an instructional setting, she's going to get that feedback. So she's not going to learn the information incorrectly. And I can go through here and I can customize this and make this matching activity for whatever we're working on. When we're finished, we'll click stop. We'll move back into our student center. I have some other activities here that Crystal and I can work on together while we're in our lesson. We can work on skip counting by fives using this hundreds chart. We can work on some one-to-one correspondence with this counting activity. And I can plug in different symbols and pictures and things that she might be interested in. And I can also go in and create other math activities for her depending on what we're working on. After we finish our math activity, I'm going to move math down to finished. All right, Crystal, time for science. We are going to do our science lesson today, starting off by reading a Seasons book. And this is a book that is pre-made in the Reading Avenue curricula, but it worked really nicely for the topics that we're covering in science. So I pulled it into her student center to have that nice literacy activity to support those science standards. So we are going to click on Read on Your Own.
Read on your own.
And then I'm just going to review to Crystal. You have access to my computer, so you can click on this button here anytime you want to hear what the page says. You'll click here on this talk button if you're wanting to have some communication supports. Remember, Crystal is using a communication device to talk, so we can click on this button and open up some different phrases that she can say to make comments throughout the books. And then we also have this symbols bar here. And that's going to give us some fringe vocabulary related to the content in the book. So if we're wanting to talk about specific things related to the text, we have that option built in for her. And then Crystal, if you ever want to turn the page, you can use these arrows. Okay, so let's go ahead and hear what the title of this book is.
Seasons.
Good job. This book is about the seasons. Remember, we can turn the pages by clicking on these arrows.
A summer day is a warm day, a fun day.
It's summer. What do you think about summer? I like
this. Sun.
Yeah, the sun is out during the summer. You're right. Good job, Crystal.
Fun.
They do look like they're having fun. Have you ever built a sandcastle? That is so much fun. Let's see what happens next.
A splash and swim and run day.
So we can go through and continue having that communication support, that back and forth conversation about the pages, and read this book together. I would have her work on turning the pages and all that, because this book is going to live on her device. She has access to this even when we're not working together, so she can go back for some independent reading. And I want to make sure that she knows where to go to find to hear the text, where she goes to turn the pages, and for that talk button, so that she has that system and that ability to do that when I'm not there with her, so she can practice this even when we're not in class. After we read the book about seasons, we're going to go into a sorting activity and do a little comprehension on season sorting. So, Crystal, what's something that you would wear during the winter? See, here's our winter bucket. Can you find something from the bottom to put into our winter bucket?
That's right. Coat belongs in winter.
Good job. Now, can you find something that makes you think about summer? The next bucket is for summer.
That doesn't belong there.
That was a good try, but Halloween is during the fall. Can you try again for summer?
That's right. Sunglasses belongs in summer.
Good job. While Crystal is doing that activity, she's across town at her house. She's doing this sorting activity, and it still has that support built in, so it lets her know when she's getting it right and wrong. So again, she can practice this even when we're not together. Good job, Crystal. One of the nice things about these templates is that when she completes these activities when I'm not with her, I can log into my account on the website and check to see how she's doing, what she's getting right, what she's getting wrong, how long she's spending on these activities. And that's a nice way for me to monitor that performance and know what I need to go back and reteach in our next one-on-one lesson together. We have some other things like go-togethers, books about the solar system, labeling activities, lots of ways that we can address those different science standards. What we're going to do now is move into our language arts activities. So Crystal is still an emergent learner with literacy skills, and we're really still working on some of those blends and that alphabet awareness and phonological awareness kind of skills. So we have lots of different word building and alphabet awareness, phonological awareness play activities. So she can go in and just manipulate sounds and letters and really start to solidify her knowledge of what letters look like and sound like and how to put them together to make meaningful words. So we're going to start with the CVC Word Builder here. And with this template, she can go in and create letters. It gives her that nice visual cue of blue for the consonants and green for the vowels. And she can just click and drag letters into the boxes to play around with making words. So I'm going to give Crystal some time to play around with that.
T. E. R.
That's an interesting word. Can you click on the sound it out button? Let's see what it sounds like. Let's click on the check and see what that word is.
Tear. Is not a word.
That's okay. You did a good job with it. Maybe try and change the R. Can we change that R to a different letter?
N.
Now let's check it. Let's see what that might spell.
You built the word. 10.
Good job, Crystal. All right, so she can go in and manipulate these different letters and spell out different words. Sometimes they're going to be words, sometimes they're not, but she's just going to have the joy of manipulating letters and sounds and really getting some nice practice with that. So after she's had some time to play around with that, we'll go back over here. We can do some word blending activities. These are already pre-made and part of that Reading Avenue collection. I'm going to click on that.
Use the letters to make different words that share the same spelling pattern.
Just click on a letter and let's see what happens.
Light. The stars make a twinkly light.
There are lots of other activities that are included in Reading Avenue that are already pre-made. You can go in and you can do visual scenes, word searches, lots of different writing activities from predictable chart writing activities that really give learners the chance to go in and build sentences and see that their ideas can be communicated in that written form, as well as some activities where you can write about pictures and all of that kind of purposeful writing activity that give our learners a chance to play around with creative spelling and really start to communicate in written expression. The last thing that I want us to do today for our language arts and reading lesson is a word web. So we've been reading A Bad Case of the Stripes, and I'm going to do a little comprehension activity with Crystal and just see what she remembers. We have her retell me a little bit about the story. So Crystal, here we are. We've been reading about Camilla Cream and A Bad Case of the Stripes. Can you click on the detail buttons and tell me what you remember about the book?
Rainbow stripes.
That's right. Camilla turned into a rainbow striped girl, didn't she? Good job. Then we could go throughout and finish her selecting other details. You can see at the top I can save her work and I could print it out and have that documentation of her retelling me that story. So lots of ways that we could engage in dynamic interactive learning from a distance and support in lots of different academic areas, and also give her some things that she can do at home while she's not sitting right there next to me in a classroom or in the same building. And the other thing that, again, it monitors that performance, and I can go in and change these activities out anytime that I am ready for her to have something different to do. I can switch them out and just reassign them, and she will have access to the different content that I put on her account. The last thing that I want to show within this Student Center is the ability to go in and change access methods. So Crystal is working with direct touch, and she's able to engage on the screen with a single touch with her finger, but some of our learners need different access methods. And the Student Center supports a variety of those access methods. You come here to our Settings tab. You see we have our access method here. Right now it's by default on simple touch, so touch on the screen or click of a mouse will select any of the items. We can support those direct access needs with touch enter and touch exit for some of our learners with motor differences who need support with how long they hold down a selection or how long they release it to really make meaningful choices. We can also support switch scanning, mouse pause, and eye gaze. So just know that all of those access methods are supported with this Student Center, and you can customize and set this up for your learner wherever you are, and then when they log in, these settings will be there for them. So really nice way to provide that accessible instruction to your learners. Thank you, Crystal, for working so hard today. All right, so if you're not familiar with Boardmaker, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that you just saw me using. Boardmaker is a tool for creating symbol-supported communication and education materials. There are hundreds of templates that allow you to create your own content, both print-based and interactive, so you can get in there and really get your learners the things that they need to give them access. You saw me using several different templates for sorting and matching and reading in the video. You can also find activities and curricula. We have a wealth of pre-made evidence-based content ready to utilize, and there's a community of thousands of activities at your fingerprints that your peers and colleagues are out there making. The Seasons book and the various writing activities that I pointed out were all part of Reading Avenue, which is an emergent literacy curricula based on Karen Erickson's research. And after you create it or find it, your students are going to love playing it. Like I pointed out in the video, you can work on these things sitting next to each other in a classroom. You can have these things assigned to students if they're down the hall in an inclusion setting, or if right now they're across town at home engaged in virtual learning. And all the while utilizing whatever access method they need for success. And then finally, you're able to assign those activities and then monitor that progress with that Student Center app when you use those performance-based templates. So just a quick little recap of our Boardmaker ecosystem. You saw me using activities created in the Boardmaker 7 editor, and you saw activities that I found from that pre-made curricula on the website. Also, that's where I went to assign activities to Crystal and connect with her, and then she was playing them on that Boardmaker 7 Student Center. That Student Center was being utilized via her computer, but it is also something you can put on an iPad or a Tobii Dynavox communication device. And just a really nice way that you can connect to your learners wherever they are. And now I am going to turn it over to Karen, and she's going to talk about SnapCore First and how we can tie these education and some of our communication supports together.
All right, thanks, Ashlyn. I'm super excited about Boardmaker 7, and we are going to go ahead and jump into how we can really support those communicators who are utilizing the SnapCore First software, and how we can integrate that use of Boardmaker as well. So as Ashlyn had a great example there, I have a communicator here. Her name is Hannah. And Hannah utilizes SnapCore First on her communication system. She also loves to read and socialize. And so we want to find some ways that we can help her utilize her communication system, and then also utilize her communication system when she's involved with some of those interactive activities on her communication system. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at how we can utilize Boardmaker and her communication software of SnapCore First together. There are many reasons why we would want to combine the use of SnapCore First in Boardmaker. A few of the reasons are, the student's family might have their own account, the teacher has access to that account, The teacher does not need the data collection offering, and the activities using the integrated player allow for that more independent work and allows the learner to have direct access to their communication system while also participating in activities. It also provides that interactive opportunity to model vocabulary in SnapCore First to demonstrate language. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this video here about what the Boardmaker player is and how it works within SnapCore First. And I'm just going to kind of jump ahead a little bit, so for the sake of time.
Have you ever wondered how you can quickly and easily use the accessible books or interactive activities from Boardmaker with your Snap users? Well, Snap now includes an integrated Boardmaker player. With the integrated Boardmaker player, no matter which page set you're utilizing in Snap, you have the ability to access the Boardmaker library to browse and play preloaded activities. These activities include an accessible bookshelf with a variety of books, accessible games, a calendar, math tools, as well as samples from some of Boardmaker's most loved curriculum titles, including Core First Learning, Reading Avenue, and Expedition Education. This integration of Boardmaker and Snap also allows you to add Boardmaker activities you have made or found within the community to use in the Snap software. Having access to this collection of activities right in Snap allows easy and quick access without switching software or having to download another application. Use the integrated Boardmaker player to access your Boardmaker activities as well as the preloaded books, games, math tools, and curriculum in Snap for a supported learning experience. Use those activities in conjunction with the Snap communication tools to provide access to appropriate language, which allows our users to fully engage in their learning experience. So try out the integrated Boardmaker player in Snap today.
All right, so that gives us a nice overview about what that Boardmaker player is. And again, it makes me really excited to think about how we can support our SnapCore First users and how they can really utilize those awesome Boardmaker supports as well. So now that we've seen the Boardmaker player and Ashlyn has done a nice overview of Boardmaker, I know some of you aren't as familiar with SnapCore First. So before I jump into the software and show how we can add the integrated player into SnapCore First, I just want to do a brief overview about what is SnapCore First. SnapCore First is an AAC software option from Tobii Dynavox that converts symbol and text into clear speech output. It's a symbol-based communication solution that's appropriate for all ages who are still developing language that benefit from the use of picture symbols to help learn language and communicate. SnapCore First was designed to be intuitive and engaging so that our users and those supporting them can start using that software right away from the start. As you'll see that those editing features are really easy to use and real time, which make it very successful for those communication partners as well. And SnapCore First was also developed to deliver a systematic, proven, and research-based core word framework. SnapCore First combines that core word strategy as well as those other communication tools that promote and support engagement, literacy, and growth. And you'll see how we can support these areas when I demonstrate those communication tools within the software. And when developing SnapCore First, really the goal was to create a communication software that supported current research to meet the needs of our symbol-based communicators. Therefore, SnapCore First was designed to target those three areas and build upon those three pillars of engagement, literacy, and growth. And with our focus on these three pillars, our end goal is obviously for that improved communication and learning outcomes. So I am going to go ahead and just jump into my SnapCore First software to show you how we can utilize that integrated player. Okay. So in order for us to get started, I just want to orient you a bit to the software for those of you who might not be as familiar. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in review of SnapCore First in this session, as in this session, we're really targeting Boardmaker and that integration within SnapCore First. But if you want to learn more, Ashlyn and I will demo how you can find additional SnapCore First resources, as well as we'll be sending out a resource document reviewing all that we have covered today, and then some additional learning opportunities as well. But here's a bit of orientation to get us started. So here you will see this is a core communication board within SnapCore First. Here in orange, you'll find the toolbar. So this toolbar really remains static. It's in this place to allow for that efficient communication and that ability for that communicator and communication partner to be really flexible in whatever communication tool that we're talking about. And when I talk about communication tools, I mean the use of core words, quick fires, topics, and a keyboard. The next area that I want you to know is this gear and pencil up here. This is your edit mode in SnapCore First. So this mode again allows for that real-time editing. So you don't have to jump in and out of edit mode to see the changes that you've made. You can see them as they're being made within the software. And then for today's purposes, we're going to be spending some time in the dashboard, excuse me, and you can find the dashboard within this orange toolbar right here, as well as up here on this black bar as well. So if we access the dashboard, we have some extras within SnapCore First, and this is where I can access my Boardmaker player activities. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to show you, Erica showed you in that video, some of those Boardmaker activities, but I'm also going to just jump in and show you what that looks like. So these are all those preloaded activities that I have access to. And so I want you to think about this as I know I'm showing you this on your screen as you're watching this session, but I really want you to think about this as if this is your communicator's communication system. Okay, and we are really using these activities to promote the use of that communication system, as well as promote that carryover practice for some of that academic, for those academic activities as well. So I'm going to show you this bookshelf. I think that this accessible bookshelf is one of the best things that was offered for our communicators, and it's really, really exciting about how we can use it. And so what I'm going to spend some time doing is just showing how we can utilize these books and integrate the use of our communication boards at the same time. Okay. So here, let's go to this book, A Good Pet. This is kind of a fun book, and I'm going to talk to Hannah today, and I'm going to say, okay, Hannah, let's go ahead. We are going to read this book called A Good Pet. I love this book, and we're going to spend some time in talking about it. And we're going to create this opportunity for Hannah and I to have this shared reading activity and opportunity. So again, as Ashlyn talked about that distance learning or that virtual learning opportunity, Hannah can also have control of my screen during that session, and I can have control over her screen as well. So if she's across town, we can also have that experience depending on whatever virtual platform that we're using. Okay, again, so there's a couple different ways we can do that. One way we can utilize this Boardmaker player from a virtual standpoint, but also how awesome it is just to even pull those activities, even if we're sitting face to face and having that opportunity together. So I say, okay, Hannah, let's go ahead. We're going to read this book. It's called A Good Pet. Let's get started. Oh my gosh, a wolf. A wolf is not a good pet. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to go to core words and I say, oh, I would not want that pet, Hannah. Oh, a wolf is not a good pet. And then I can go ahead and I can toggle back to this book. So that is also another really great feature that within the toolbar here, within once I get started with those Boardmaker activities, this activity is always going to be active within the toolbar. So one feature that I might utilize within edit mode to make my communicator a little bit more successful so we can quickly toggle back and forth is I'm going to go here to edit mode. I'm going to scroll down here, and Hannah doesn't use the keyboard as often. And if she does, I can help and I can navigate her to that communication tool. But what I'm going to do to make us successful is I'm going to sneak this tab right up here so she and I can quickly toggle back and forth in that activity. I can push done. And as you can see, now whatever activity that I've chosen within that Boardmaker player is going to be within that toolbar. And I just think that that's such an awesome way to keep that activity going and successful. And I say, oh my gosh, Hannah, I would not want a wolf as a good pet. Do you? Again, we're providing that wait time. We're providing that opportunity for her to respond as well. Okay. And then we come back to our book and we say, oh my gosh, a lion is not a good pet. And I can keep using that core word of lion. And I say, I would not want that. Anyway, I can keep going through this book. I could use quick fires and we could use phrases. Would you want a lion as a pet? Yes. Oh my goodness, I would not want a lion. A hippo is not a good pet. And we can keep going through. Okay, so there's a lot of ways that we can utilize that within those books. So I go to those Boardmaker activities. I have all of those books in that bookshelf. Okay, another activity that we can utilize, we've got some games. Okay, so some of those matching games, and we can provide these opportunities where our communicators, we can do this matching activity. Okay, and then we can again toggle back and forth between core words. Okay, it's your turn. Okay, and we go back to matching. And we go back to core words, and we can keep that toggle back and forth and keep engaged in that activity. And that's what I love about having that access, is we can really keep engagement happening within that tool. Okay. Then one more feature that I think is really awesome, and I love the idea of topics within SnapCore First, because dependent on the activity that we're in, I can have an opportunity for my communicator to have this kind of errorless learning opportunity, as whatever button they push and select within that topic, they are successful. Me as the communication partner, I have to respond contingently to make them successful. So as you can see, I'm in this topic of reading, and what I can do is I can create this accessible bookshelf down here for my communicators. So Hannah's always going to have that opportunity to choose what book she wants to put in there. So if I go again to edit mode, and I'm going to click on these blank messages down here, and I don't need it to say your message, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to actions, and I go to add action. And there are a boatload of actions that I could utilize and support Hannah in this, but I'm going to go to these Boardmaker activities, and I can go ahead and open a Boardmaker activity or folder. I'm going to go to bookshelf, and I'm going to select a book here, and I'm going to select this activity. So now when I pull this down, you can see that this book is now going to be down here, and I could change the style if I wanted it to. So now she really knows that that book is going to be there. And for time's sake, I'm going to do one more just so you can kind of see another way that we could utilize this bookshelf. Again, I'm going to add an action. I'm going to come down to the Boardmaker options. Go to my bookshelf, and this time I'm going to talk about colorful days, select that activity, going to change that color again. and it's done. So I can fill this. And so now what happens is Hannah gets to choose which book we're reading and go together. All right, and there's a variety of other ways that we can do that. I can go to games. We've got a spinner within those Boardmaker activities. You can see that in those, it's within math tools, and you could go ahead and program that spinner within a game topic and really make our communicators successful. All right, I am going to jump back in here. All right, so Ashlyn, let's go ahead and talk about.
Yeah, so we are at the end, and we have covered our Boardmaker and SnapCore First. And what we would like is, if you want to use chat, just tell us something new that you learn about each of these, or something you're excited to maybe try out. And while you're typing that in, you're also welcome to type in any questions that you might have about either of those, and let us know, what you would like to know more about. And if you have questions or want to connect with anyone, you can go by our virtual booth, and our email addresses are available there, as well as contact information for Julia Dodge, and Michelle can connect with you to support you. And we want to leave you now with this last resource that Karen is showing. It is our Learning Hub. If you want to learn more about Boardmaker or SnapCore First or anything else, we have these resources available for you. So I'm going to let Karen give you guys a little tour of our Learning Hub.
Yeah, so if you go to learn.tobiidynavox.com, you can create an account. And just for today's purposes, if you have additional learning that you'd like to do, again, we're going to be sending out a resource guide that has everything that we've talked about today. But if you want to do some of your own independent learning, we suggest that you go to this Boardmaker tab within the Learning Hub. There you can find a variety of webinars, you can find job aids, just a variety of information that you could utilize to expand your learning. Again, I would start with the Boardmaker side, and then the SnapCore First tab as well, to really expand, continue on with how we can utilize both programs together and support those communicators. So thank you all so much. I know that this was quick and a lot of information for you all today, but we just are really excited about the way that you can utilize these two programs together and how we can support our learners.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
And thank you, everyone. We encourage you to, again, go back to their booth and get more information, resources, and connect and make future appointments. As well, we will be doing a lunch, featured speaker lunch watch party next. So please feel free to go there and continue to network and share your thoughts and share your thoughts on social media. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.